So we are going to go over some examples of applications and some medical technology case studies here in just a second. We're going to talk about medical imaging, a look at medical devices, and some label and inspection. The first one I want to briefly talk about is in medical imaging, and this is an application called microscopy. It's a very simple application to understand. Basically, you replace the human eyes on a microscope with a camera. You integrate the camera directly into the microscope system, which allows easy viewing of the slides, right? Instead of having to put your face up against a microscope, you're able to utilize a monitor, a software, or I've even seen some setups where it's an 80-inch TV that's running 4K through this microscope that's providing a massive quality image for the lab tech to be able to really analyze and look at those cells. By utilizing machine vision and cameras to do this, we're actually lowering the stress of the user, allowing for that person to have more efficient work in the long term. I don't know how many of you have ever used a microscope, but the longer you press your eyes against a microscope, the more insane you slowly become. So really lowering that stress of not having to try to always dial in the microscope and having a camera do that work for the tech can really help with long-term efficiency. And the more feature-rich softwares that we have nowadays, we can actually utilize the camera to do some of that work like we've talked about, right? The preliminary cancer cell detection. The next one I want to talk about is quality inspection, and we'll have some really cool examples here as well as a case study, I believe, in just a second. So label and seal verification. This requires really the ability to detect if a product was incorrectly made. The big and huge thing for this is really in pharmaceutical. And the reason for that is we want to make sure that products are safe to use and they are the expected quality. When I have a headache, I expect that that bottle of ibuprofen or Motrin that I'm using is safe to use, right? I want to take them and I want to know that those are not going to harm me. Those have been produced correctly, their seal is there, and everything is okay with that product. Utilizing machine vision, we can help to protect consumers from defective and potentially dangerous products. And it allows companies to automate that detection without having to use manual labor. And when we use manual labor, not only is it inefficient, but it also is more prone to error, right? Someone working on an assembly line checking seals for 8 hours is going to make a lot more mistakes than a camera that can run for thousands upon thousands of hours before it even needs to be reset, right? So this is huge for machine vision. And this is a really good example of how it works. So first, we have an object coming down a line where they are inspected to make sure the contents and the labels have been correctly placed inside of the box. Then later down the line, once some sort of automated process has been done to seal the box, the vision system is then being utilized again to check and confirm that that seal is correctly there. Then once the product leaves the assembly line, we know that those were properly placed and the seal on the container is secure. So if a customer gets a bottle of ibuprofen and that seal is not secure, they know not to use that product, return it, and get a new one because something happened after the factory.